Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I like to discuss what I personally got up to at the Labour conference, from destroying my feet because I didn't listen to my partner, to taking part in 2 fringe panel events discussing social media. This will be very much one for those interested in my experiences there. This is not political news or commentary as such. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So mistakes were made, lessons learned. I was planning to go in like shirt and jacket rather than the usual hoodies. I thought, well, I don't really use these for teaching anymore. I'll go in those. So I thought I'll take the new boots. Now, being honest, they weren't really new boots. They were just newly worn. About a year and a half ago, my partner bought me 2 sets of boots, very different types. I'm not really sure why, because I've only got 1 pair of feet. But I didn't question it. But I'd been wearing one set for a while. They're nice and comfortable. But they don't quite go with the jacket and tie, so I took the others. Apart from anything else, they were cleaner because I'd not really worn them. And she was saying when I was talking about this, have you worn them before? And you said they weren't that comfortable. I couldn't really remember, so I just said, you know what, be fine. Be right. It was not fine. Matters were not helped when I got to Liverpool, I saw the queue at the railway station taxi rank, and I thought, you know what, that's a bit long. Google Maps says it's 25-minute walk to the conference to pick up my pass. I'll just walk. 50 minutes walking later, because either I or my phone were making an arse of using Google Maps, I thought, right, I'm just getting further and further away. What was supposed to be 25 minutes walk, 50 minutes later was now a 38-minute walk. So I found a taxi rank, and I just thought, right, I'm getting a taxi. Told the taxi driver what I'd tried to do, and he says, oh, it's actually quite a journey to the conference from here. And I said, yeah, it is if you spend 50 minutes walking in the wrong direction. But anyway, 2 lessons learned. First, don't wear shoes you don't know are comfortable if you're going to have to do a lot of walking, because now I've got a lot of skin missing from both feet. And the second lesson, just take taxis. But anyway, on to more important stuff. So when I got to the conference, there was Team Steve Bray set up right outside the entrance. No bother at all from either Labour or the police. Unlike when he was in Manchester last week for the Tory party conference, and the police came up with daily nonsense to shift him out of the way. So I picked my pass up, went to the hotel, contemplated the state of my feet, and then went on to the first fringe event planned. I had actually gone, because the taxi driver told me, by the way, there's a Tesco Express around the corner. I had gone there. It was a long way round the corner in very uncomfortable feet. They had no plasters. How does a Tesco Express have no plasters? But anyway, go to the event. This is the one outside the conference venue, so anyone that was in Liverpool at the time could have gone. And an awful lot of people did. This was the one with Graham, myself, Femi, Tan and Marina Perkis. The event itself was absolutely packed out. Beforehand, it was like, how many tickets we sold? Oh, that's not as many as we've got. Obviously, what people had done is bought them right at the end when they knew they were going to be there. All the seats were taken. There was people standing at the back as well, including a while Steve Bray popped up. Although I could initially only recognise him from the hat. The photo, the camera actually took a clearer image. I couldn't really see very clearly beyond the first couple of rows because of the lights on us. The event, if you want to watch it, is on the Labour social site, which I will put in the description below. I will say the sound's a bit variable. It did get better. But if we do this, if we're going to do this each year, I will have to have a think about what we can do technically about that for next time. I'm not technical. Graham is technical, but in terms of providing hardware. But it was a very well received discussion. The next day, the plan would have been to go to lots of fringe events and then do the things I needed to do. The fringe events that had nothing to do with me. But the only one I actually got to was the UK in a Change in Europe discussion about the public's attitude towards Brexit. That included Stella Creasy, who's a Labour MP, but also the chair of the Labour Movement for Europe. She's not a Make Brexit Work MP. It was very interesting. I'm going to do a video about that at some point. But although there were a few others I thought were interesting, I wanted to go to, I prioritised that one because basically my feet were in a right mess. I was shuffling around everywhere like an old man. I sort of still am now. So I spent most of the day just sitting rather, I didn't take a single step unless it was necessary, which still ended up being about 8,500 steps yesterday. Which is annoying because when it comes to the conference, I've been to a couple before. I don't habitually go. I've been to a couple before. I never go and want to listen to the big speeches. And it's great that lots did, because then you had that contrast between the attendance at senior members of the Labour leadership and those of the Conservative conferences last week. I mean, that was stark. Yes, you had sellouts for the likes of Braverman and, of course, Rishi Sunak. But for a lot of the cabinet ministers, the seats were basically empty. Not the case for any one of the big speakers for Labour. But for me personally, I can catch up with the big speeches later. I've listened to a few already. I can listen to more. I can find transcripts of the speeches usually. The fringe events are different. They are usually recorded. But can you find the recordings later? I usually can't. So if you're not there, often you will miss them. And of course, fringe events take questions. So then, as I discussed in my first video today, I had a chat with the chair of the Labour campaign for electoral reform. Stuff will be happening there. Also met Tim Pravda, who campaigns for the nearly 4 million self-employed people whom the Tories inexplicably, because like these are self-employed small business people, a lot of them vote Conservative, and yet the Conservatives completely abandoned them during the COVID lockdowns. Left them literally penniless. He'll be on one of the Saturday streams on the channel coming up, talking about the impact of the Tories' failure, his campaign, and to discuss some of the things we were talking about in terms of what he wants Labour to do after the election. And then we had our second panel, and that was within the conference. Very much in the belly of the conference. It was like right down at the bottom in the basement and right at the end. And that is also on the Labour social channel, and that's got better audio. You can get through that more easily. It was originally going to be at noon, which was fine. Then it was shifted to 2 p.m. for reasons. The graveyard slot, because that's when Keir Starmer's speech was. So we'd have had nobody turn up for that. We'd just be talking to a camera, which actually we are used to doing. So Graham persuaded them to put it later. So it was at 4 p.m, which then meant, okay, so bang goes the plan to get the train when I wanted to. I was getting home that night. It did mean I could get one, but it was like the last one possible. And then the train, the very last train, because there's 2 trains I'd need to get back home, the very last one that I needed to actually get home was cancelled, stranding me in Doncaster. It's fine, I got home. But just to highlight the shit rail services again. Oh, we've decided this is not going to make us much money. We're just going to cancel it. But, you know, at least we had an audience at 4 p.m. that we would not have had at 2 p.m. And this panel was specifically talking about how the Labour Party could benefit from treating social media seriously. I mean, you know, the point, you know, I could go through a lot of things if I could talk to them directly. Like a point I will make is, if you look at what my channel does, I'm a guy talking in a shed. I'm in a shed right now. It's called a garden room. It's posh name for a shed with windows. But, you know, the YouTube's analytics are really very detailed. I can see in a 4-week period, I have about 320,000 unique accounts. That's based in the UK. That's based in the UK. That's not including my international viewers, far more then. But that's not a value. The only ones that are valued to Labour are the UK-based accounts. 320,000 in a 4-week period that have watched some of my content. And quite a lot of them return. The vast majority of views that I have, or viewers, unique viewers, come back and watch again. And some people, you know, will also watch the content on another platform. So that's not counted there. They don't need a Gmail account to watch it like on Twitter or something. I also know that some people watch together. So the actual number of UK-based people who watch my content is definitely above 320,000 in a given month. I just can't say how much above, because there's no way of knowing that. And I further know that the vast majority are not Labour members. Now, how do I know that? Well, even if it was just 320,000 people, you're not far off the full membership of the Labour Party. If there was a significant number of those viewers are Labour members, I'd get recognised more at Labour events. It's very rare that anyone at a Labour event knows who I am. Every now and then you'll get one person maybe. You know, it doesn't matter when I'm going to a CLP meeting or the annual conference. I am as anonymous as everyone else. So that means I get through to a lot of non-partisan swing voters. These might be Labour supporters or a good number of them. I know I have supporters of other parties watching as well, but they're not Labour members. You know, Labour could have that. Labour could have more than that, because if they treated YouTube seriously, if they did what I did, they'd get more views because they've got more potential than I do. They are a huge political party and they're going to form the next government of a G7 nation. And if they did it on other platforms as well, with platform appropriate content, they'd be getting through to so many demographics. Madness to miss out on that just because they're advised by people who don't understand modern communications. They're living in the 1990s. But anyway, definitely watch that discussion. The audio is much better. Then I had to hotfoot it to the station to get back. Right pain in the arse to get taxis when there's suddenly loads more people in the city and you don't have emergency taxi drivers in status to come out at these times. It takes a while also to work out which taxi companies are the more reliable ones. People kept saying to use Uber. I don't like the idea of them. So a little bit like Wetherspoons for me, so I refuse to use them. But that was my conference. Good panel discussions, very good. We'll learn to take some appropriate footwear next time. Whether that will be in Liverpool or Brighton, we do not yet know. And hopefully not have to spend so much time complaining about how the Tesco Express didn't have any plasters. But I will say this, the railway station is very good. Way better than that crap at King's Cross. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. If you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.